It's Monday morning Q&A from the shop with the train.
With the train.
So right on cue. So today's topic is going to be 3 warnings I have for all eBay resellers. If you don't do these 3 things, your eBay store will die a fiery, miserable death. So definitely listen to these 3 things. I think a lot of people really underestimate how important these 3 things are. And I just want to go over them today because it's really, really important. So I don't know if there are people in the chat. I want to make sure you guys can hear me, and then I'll get straight into it, and then we'll do Q&A the rest of the time. So hopefully it's working okay,
Yep,
and then we'll start. Okay,
good.
let's do it. So
Train's coming by.
is there people in it? In here?
We got 7 people. Welcome.
7 people. Okay, I love it.
Good morning. Julie says hi, Chris.
What's up, Julie? So I'm going to reiterate these points, and then please let me know in the comment section below or in the chat if any of these apply to you. Okay, so let's say you pick your eBay goal. Most people have a goal of like $500 a week, $1,000 a week, $2,000 a week, $10,000 a week, profit, revenue, extra time, extra money to pay down debt. What is the reason that you're doing reselling, right? Mm-hmm. Earlier this morning, a lady said her goal is to bring her husband home, and he or she needs $120,000 net to bring him home. And we broke it down. $10 profit a day is around 42 listings a day. She would need to make $420 a day roughly to bring him home. That was the math, and we need to figure out, okay, can she get 42 items a day, and then can she list 42 items a day? That's the challenge, right? So that was that goal, very specific. So everyone starts with a goal, and there's 3 things that are really important. So let me know which of these 3 things you struggle with. And it's only one of these 3 things. Number 1 is you don't know what to do. So a lot of people have a goal, they have no idea where to start, they have no idea what tasks they need to do, they don't have any ability to reverse engineer anything, they just get stuck. I want this money, and then they don't know what to do next. Number 2 would be you don't know how to do it. So you kind of like you don't know what to do and don't know how to do it. So you don't know what to do is first, then you know what to do, but you can't physically do it. And then the third one is you know how to do it, but then you don't do it. Mm-hmm. So where are you guys? Mm-hmm. Don't know how to do it, don't know what to do, mm-hmm. or know what to do but don't do it. These are the 3 things, and I know the solution to these 3 things. And unfortunately, some people need to be told what to do, like me. So I will tell you what to do. You guys ready? So everybody smash the like button, consider subscribing, and I'll tell you what you need to do. So as you guys know, I run a Facebook group with my colleague Tech and Sports on how to do eBay. Earlier in the morning call also, somebody had asked how to make $300,000 a year reselling profit, right? And I think that from who I've seen so far doing this, you would need $1.2 million gross. In the clothing category, there's only one person that's done that, and that's my colleague Tech and Sports. He's the only one in the millions of dollars in sales in just the used clothing. For me personally, I never got above 700K in used clothing and sales, just the clothing part. I was around 2K a day. So around 700,000 was where I sort of peaked at. And I can tell you why now in retrospect, why the difference is, because we both had 2 people. How come he was doing 1.2 to 1.5 and I was doing 700? I know why. It's because my process is a little bit more inefficient in a few different ways. And those things compounded over the entire year result literally in $500,000 less income. I actually think I probably worked harder than he did and made less, right? So it's important to understand there's these 2 concepts that will fix this, okay? So we're fixing don't know what to do, don't know how to do it, and you know how to do it, but then you don't do it. These 3 things can be solved by 2 mentalities, okay? The first mentality is trying to be the best. So you have to be motivated by something to do it. And in order to make $300,000 a year profit, since we only know one person that's done that in used clothing, and that's Tech and Sports, he is motivated not by money, but by being the best. He actually is the best in his category, which is men's clothing. In his categories in the listing quality report on eBay, he ranks number 1 in all the categories he sells in. Okay, so there isn't somebody in those categories higher. So it's interesting, a lot of people don't give him the credibility that he deserves. They sort of just ignore what he's doing, even though he's kind of doing eBay part-time and still number 1. Okay, so you have that best mentality. You want to be the best. If you want to make $300K a year, that would make you the best. You'd be up there. like top 5. So then, best is one thing, because anyone can be the best for a short period of time, right? So being the best is a matter of you have the fastest photo process, you have the fastest listing process, the best storage process, you never lose anything, never have any returns, perfect titles, perfect pictures, perfect item specifics, your pricing is always on point, best return and shipping policy, fastest handling time. That would be the best. But that's only the best for one transaction. There's another mentality that you need, which he has both. He has the best mentality. He also has the most mentality. So he's trying to sell the most widgets. Okay, so this applies even if you're part-time. So hopefully people are paying attention right now. If you're part-time, or like me, I definitely don't put in as many hours as my colleague. What I'm trying to do is get the best process and get the most widgets out of the specific time that I have. And it's the same for him. His day is just longer. Okay, so I want to give you guys the exact framework here. You ready? I just realized now that Jeff Bezos did this exact same thing. Okay? When he first started Amazon, he wanted to sell books. So he figured out, how many books can I sell in a day? Right? Figured it all out. And he made a literal bell that would ring every time a sale would happen. Right? So ding. And if you're like, listening to this group and you want to get to that first milestone, which is 10 sales a day, your bell would ring 10 times a day, right? So then he started to think, okay, you know what? What's the max potential of one person doing this? And I can tell you, the max potential is around 1.2 million, 1.5 million solo, just by yourself, reselling 50 to 200 items a day, sourcing 7 days a week. That's the most that I have seen, is like $300,000 to $500,000 profit from one person just hustling all day long. If you did that, right, you would have between 50 and 150 sales per day. Wow, this area, we got fire engines, we got trains, we got alarms. But I'm gonna wait a couple minutes because that's loud. I wonder if it'll pass.
I think it's passing now, yeah.
Okay, so
Okay, we're good.
the Jeff Bezos is trying to figure out how many can one person do, right? So if we're going with that bell analogy, right? So 150 times a day, that bell is now ringing. If you're going solo, balls to the wall, all in, doing it all day, that's a max. But there's certainly tons of people who have more than 150 sales a day. I have more than 150 sales a day, but I'm not a one-person show. So as Jeff Bezos started to grow his team, more and more people, he had the goal of that bell being one continuous sound 24 hours a day. Okay, so that's like thousands of sales a day. Ding, 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 to the point ding, ding, ding is too slow. You just want ding all the way through because there's just sales happening instantly all day. That's what Amazon is. So this is the mentality, best and most. If you have the best and most mentality, okay, this is what will happen. You don't have to work all day. You can just work a couple of hours. But here's the part that's really important. You will become comfortable. I'll tell you, because I am now comfortable because I'm thinking about best and most all day. I want to have the best YouTube channel for reselling. I want to have the best group for reselling. I want to have the best reselling business I can with the hours that I have. Best, most. I want to move the most units. I think about my whatnot nonstop. I just hit 459,000 in sales. I was looking at my numbers. I'm nowhere near the most and nowhere near the best on the platform, but I'm not discouraged by that. Like, I've seen people who do $1 million in a day. I'm nowhere near that. But for me, I'm getting closer to the best and most version of myself, which means I'm more than comfortable, plenty of funds. Now, a lot of people think a different way. They think, I want to be comfortable. Okay? So comfortable means you work a little bit here and there, you kind of study something, you kind of do this. People who want comfortable are never comfortable. They're always like, they just get a little bit. You just make a little bit of money here and there. And this channel is not about make a little bit of money here or there. That's not the point. I want you to make more than you need. And I always talk about this, make more than you need so you can be in a position to give. A lot of people think, oh, I want to help people. I want to do all this charitable stuff, but you're not even in a position to take care of yourself. So that's not realistic. The people who are in the position to help other people have more than they need. Okay, so if you don't have the best and the most mentality, it doesn't work. Christine and I are trying to make the best videos we can and the most videos we can. It works. It allows me to make it work. It allows me to start building a YouTube team. If I was just doing YouTube for like, it's no longer for fun. For fun is just whenever I want. This is now, I want it to be a business. I want it to continue. I want it to support more than just me. If that's the case, you need to do best and most. Otherwise, you won't be able to do it. So, okay, we've got best and most, that's up here. These people get 80 or 90% of all the money. They make everything. They have all the money, they take all the trips, they take all the vacations, all the spare time, everything. Everything that you could want in life comes from the best and the most. Next tier, people trying to be comfortable. So, best and most, they get comfort. People who want comfort, they get some. So you get a little bit here and there. eBay throws you a bone, you make a couple bucks. Maybe you make $100 a week, maybe you make $500 a week. It's some. Okay, then on the bottom, there are people who just want some of the sales. And these people end up getting almost none because it's just not how it works. eBay gives all the traffic to the people who bring them the most customers. The best products, the best prices brings customers to eBay. That's where all the traffic goes. So it's really important, guys. If you're not thinking best and most, I don't think you can make this work. So take one thing from today's video. This is the warning. If you don't want to be the best and don't want to make the most of the hours that you spend on eBay, you will not be comfortable. Okay, you're going to be in the below comfort, struggling. The struggle bus part of YouTube and eBay is massive. You can hang out with literally hundreds of thousands of people who are struggling on eBay, or you can decide to be in the best and most, and it's only a few thousand people. It's very quiet. The best and most is a few thousand people, then you could be with everybody else who is struggling. Personally, I don't want to hang out there. I want to be in the best most section. So those are my 3 warnings for everybody. If you don't know what to do, don't know how to do it, and don't have the motivation, I can show you how to do it. Okay, first, why you want to do it is because you want the most and the best. That's the why, okay? You want to be the best reseller you can and make the most money you can and have the least returns you can. Spend as little money as you can, most revenue. That is the goal. Then, how to do it is figuring out how to photo list, ship everything in 10 items or 10 items in an hour or less. And then what to do is just figure out how many hours you have in a day that you want to work on eBay and then maximize it. Some people it's 1 hour a day, nap time hustle. Some people it's 5 hours a day, some people it's 16 hours a day, some people it's 19 hours a day. So however many hours you want to do it, times learn how to do it, times best and most mentality, you'll be comfortable. So I haven't heard anybody lay it out like this, but I've been watching everyone for 5 years now, and if you don't have a best and most mentality, you will not survive as a reseller. You're just gonna make peanuts. Okay, open for Q&A.
Rachel says, so with best and most,
Yeah.
what is a good number to post per day without the issues of growing too quickly?
Okay, this is great. So you want to grow without your sell-through rate dropping. Okay, so if you have 100 items and you sell 1 a day, that's 1%. You want to grow and maintain that 1% sell-through rate. So if you grow from 100 listings to 200 listings and you don't have 2 sales a day, go back and adjust. But from my experience, when you're small, when you have 100 items, your sell-through rate should be way higher than 1% a day. When I was running the Reseller Nirvana experiment, the first 100 items, I was selling 7 to 10 a day. So in that beginning part, when you're researching what to put in your store, your sell-through rate is going to be way higher than that. It's only when you start to get bigger that your sell-through rate starts to drop. In the beginning, when you touch every single item, you're looking at every single item specific, you're going to sell a lot. In the first 100, I think the first 10 items I listed, all 10 sold the first week because I was broke. Trying to do that experiment with no money sucks because you need the money back right away. So in those scenarios, I didn't ask for all the money because I didn't have any money. So I literally could not buy more items until the money came in. So I never listed items that would not sell. That sounds crazy to me if you are running a limited budget to list stuff into your store that won't sell. You don't have enough time to do that. So I have one mentality here to share. I'm now reading this course with my wife. It's called Fair Play. Okay, and this first part of it, I think a lot of people who are listening right now will be able to relate to this. Okay, mothers tend to have this mentality that they have infinite time. Like, oh, I'll take on that project. Oh, I'll take on that project. Oh, I'll take on that project. Fathers, on the other hand, this is obviously overgeneralizing. They might say, you know what? I only have a finite amount of time. Let me know what I can do and I'll try and knock that out. Whereas mothers, and this is probably part of nature, they take on everything thinking they have infinite time. That's not true. Everyone only has a finite amount of time. This is really important, and it's not male or female. You need to have the mentality that you only have a certain amount of time. So best and most when you're growing a store is making sure that your sell-through rate remains the same. So in the morning call, I actually broke down items into some categories that I think of. Awesome, these are items that sell fast. Above average, they sell fast. I consider 3 months or less. Above average items sell 3 to 6 months. Average items take 6 months to 1 year to sell. And then below average or garbage takes longer than 1 year to sell. And you can't afford items that take longer than 1 year to sell unless you have a massive building that you can store items. You can't afford for items to sit longer than a year. It's just very difficult. I haven't seen very many stores that survive in the resale world where you have to do everything by yourself. If items take longer than a year to sell, you're going to be in deep trouble.
There's several people saying that they have a lot of inventory and they average only like one sale a day.
Yeah, so you are in your entire store is in the below average section of things that don't sell very quickly, and that's very difficult to fix. So the way I would fix that, because today's title was actually going to be 3 ways to revive your dead eBay store. And a dead eBay store would be like, I would consider the sell-through rate being under 8%, what I would consider dead. If you are so low, there's no reason your sell-through rate should be that low, meaning like you have 100 items and you only sell 8 per month. Okay, that means you're listing stuff incorrectly, poor photos, poor titles, poor item specifics. Your pricing is probably way too high, sometimes triple, quadruple too high. Your return policy is not very good, so no one trusts you and wants to buy from you. You're shipping really slow. Your shipping and handling time is too long. You're charging too much for shipping. So if you were to lower your prices, and I don't recommend this if you're trying to build a business, but if you're desperate for sales, free shipping, free returns, lower all your items really as low as you possibly can. $1 free shipping, perfect title, perfect pictures, perfect item specifics, perfect item description. If you're still not getting sales at $1 free shipping, then there's something wrong with your items, because almost anything can sell for $1 free shipping. That's a true test if your listing is done correctly or not. So velocity matters on eBay. They want to give you traffic if they convert. Eyeballs are expensive. eBay only gets so many eyeballs. They point them to the people who can do the best job. So the best and most mentality comes from the customer. Right now I'm thinking about the YouTube customer. You guys are listening to me right now, trying to make more money, trying to save time, right? So I'm trying to lay it out for you. Save money, save time, make more money means you need to know exactly what to do. That's 1. Exactly how to do it. That's 2. And you need this crazy amount of motivation to do it so that you never miss your goal. Does that sound about right? Know what to do, know exactly how to do it, and have a burning desire in you to get the most out of your life. And I think that's the key. Who doesn't want the best life and the most out of it, right? Unless you're completely okay, like unless you're the type of person that's like looking forward to the weekend and it's only Monday, then at the end of your life, are you happy that it's almost over? I don't think so. I think everyone has more in it than that. Like best and most usually has a lot to do with your impact. Like what do you want to do? Like how much value do you want to provide? And if you are feeling depressed, lonely, I think it's because the value you provide is so small. You're only serving yourself. And you're not even doing a good job of serving yourself. You start thinking about serving other people and your plans change. I want 10,000 to 100,000 people to listen to the video and then go do something. That's hard. You got to be motivated to do that.
Spinner of Yarn says, I'm not worried about comfort. I'm interested in sustainable and scalable results.
Okay, then if you want that, you got to be thinking best and most, okay? Best and most makes you comfortable. And if you're not thinking about comfortable, then just best and most 24/7. That's the mentality. And honestly, best and most is exciting. It's exciting. Like, I just installed these dimmer switches in my house, and I realized that the person who installed them before didn't attach the ground wires. And it was just like, that's not the best. And that's maybe the most. Like, he's trying to do as many light switches as possible, but like, I'm not proud of that. I want to do best and most. The person that, this is ridiculously frustrating. The person that installed our toilet, it's like 4 degrees off center. So I'm gonna spend a whole weekend fixing that because I don't want that. I have to pee every day. I don't want to look at my toilet if it's crooked like that. It's like, this is something that I want to be proud of it. I want to be proud of everything. So I think it's important to really think about best and most. Always. Best means you do it right the first time. Most means you do it like that for a long time horizon. Like, my colleague Tech in Sports, who I run the group with, has been consistent with his listing habit for 13 years. Since joining the group with him, I'm up literally millions of dollars. It's completely different. The version that you guys saw of me in 2017 versus now, I'm a completely different person. Completely different, because now I got this best and most mentality. Best dad, around for my daughter the most. Best husband, around for her the most. Most healthy, most in shape, best store. Because you're not going to be able to be perfect. So if you shoot for the best and you fail, you're still pretty damn good. So that's why I want everyone to think best and most. If you want sustainable, best and most.
Kara says, Chris, I know you have probably said this before,
Yep.
but I have a day job and I would like to retire from.
Yep.
I make close to 6 figures gross from the day job. Should I look at doubling up, and for how long before quitting?
I think you should be able to easily make what you need to cover your bills part-time before you go full-time. Because once you start hiring people, your business will dip. Because let's say you're cruising along and you're doing $1,000 a day revenue. So you're at 30K, which I think is the perfect time to start considering whether or not you want to become full-time or not. So $30,000 a month, $400,000 a year gross, you start thinking about, okay, maybe I'll go full-time. Because once you decide to jump ship, here's the part that is interesting. If you're just starting, I recommend an only awesome item store. All the items in your store sell fast, great profit, and I recommend having like a small store. If you have a big store or a medium store or a small store of items that don't sell, you have no business considering going full-time, because it gets harder. As you scale, there's less awesome items. This morning I was breaking it down. I sourced all weekend, I found 1,300 items. I only found 10 awesome items. And I consider my Rolodex pretty good. Like, I have a 9 out of 10 know what things are valuable brain. I only found 10 items out of 1,300 that are awesome. Like, these will sell for all the money. Of that 1,300, I found 800 above average items. So these are items that will sell 0 to 6 months. And then I found 300 items, is that right? I forgot how many, like 500 items that were just like average. These items are gonna take longer. So if you're just starting, you can't do that. I can do that because I can wait. I can wait for items to sell. You can't. If you're just starting, you can't wait for things to sell. You need items to come through your inventory quick so you can use that money to buy something else. That's why, Tech just texted me this morning. He said making $300,000 a year is the opposite of making $100,000 a year, and I agree. $100,000 a year profit, so that's 6 figures. You can just go out there and hunt the best items all day, right? Plenty of people do that. Plenty of YouTubers talk about that. The problem is you run out of stuff to find. Like, if you look at every single YouTuber that talks about hauls or amazing stuff they find, they cap out at like 5 to 10 items a day. There's only 5 or 10 items. That's how long it takes to go find amazing items and talk about it. It's like very time consuming. Versus me, for years, I never talked about what I sold because I'm too busy. It's like listing hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of items takes so much time that your profit, the amount of total profit you make is enormous, but all the items are really boring. So it is interesting. Could you hand me my coffee, please?
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm hyped. I'm hyped this morning. Thank you.
You have a comment asking, hey Chris, is that correct that the white papers is available in July for monthly subscribers?
Yeah, so our Patreon, in July, if you sign up for the monthly subscription, you get the white papers for life, forever. You don't, even if you sign up and for some reason you don't find any more value and you cancel, you get the white papers for life. But after July, the white papers will only be available for annual only. It's really just a bonus for our Facebook Patreon group because it takes you, I know contrary to popular belief, it takes a long time to build a resale company. So it's a bonus for our annual members. If you sign up for the whole year, we have given you the best videos that we have. We have probably 3,000 or 4,000 hours of content, but it's the best, shortest series to building a profitable business. So that will be only available for annual members after July 31st, which is about 2.5 weeks. So you have a little more time to get in and test it out, but I haven't had anybody like no one sees that amazing information and then immediately cancels. I haven't seen that happen yet, but that could be. Maybe you see it and you know what to do and you just cancel, but it takes time to build this. This is not 6-minute abs. This is like lifetime of eating healthy and exercising. So not as exciting.
There's several questions saying, how do you know what's awesome to sell?
This is a great question.
Yeah.
Okay, one more point. Notice I said best and most, but I didn't say fast. I don't care about fast anymore. Best and most makes you the most money, so forget fast. Okay, this is how you know what's awesome. When you type your item into eBay, you can check on the sold section and it will tell you how often this item sold. So if the item has 90 available and 90 sold, I consider awesome. Anything slower than that, less awesome. More in the above average, average. Most people are listing stuff from their death piles, and most of the time it's not awesome. Like, okay, this is interesting to me too. This morning I brought that up in the morning call, and I'm like, my death pile is all average items. There are 0 amazing, awesome items in my death pile. I listed all those items as soon as I got them. But I guess some people, they have awesome items in their death pile that they haven't listed yet, which is mind-blowing to me. Because you have, it's like you'd think you'd be motivated because like you are a reseller, right? So you get value when somebody buys your item. You have an amazing item. Why didn't you share it? That's a bit interesting to me. The fact that people have amazing items in their death pile, I don't. Yeah.
I know some people in the chat are asking about his group. There's a link in the description. That's patreon.com/theresellerspodcast. That's the group that he's talking about.
That's the group that we're in. We have our Facebook group is around 2,500 people now, and we just talk about what to do, how to do it, and then this is hard for me because it's different for every person, but the why, the motivation to do it, I think is best and most. Because like, also like a lot of people, they want to be loved, right? This is like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. They want to be loved and they want to love others and then they want to be happy. If you are the best and the most, people will love you. You'll have the energy and capacity to love others. What was the last part? And you'll be happy. That's pretty good. Everyone loves you. You have the capacity to love and you're happy. That's amazing. That's like the best. That's all there is to it. Like if you think about when you're really like inspired by somebody, it's when they're doing their best. No one's like sees someone that's mailing it in, is that the right term? Somebody that's like wakes up half an hour late, hits the snooze button. Instead of making breakfast for themselves, they have a donut on the way to work. They're 45 minutes late. Their boss says, I have to write you up. And he's like, it doesn't matter anyway. We're all gonna be dead one day. You go through, you have something unhealthy for lunch, feel really bad, go throughout your day, leave 15 minutes early and sneak out the back, right? Get in your car, it breaks down the way home, walk the rest of the way home, turn on TV, go to sleep. Do you watch that and are you so inspired by that? I'm not.
Inspiring.
I'm not inspired by that visual. So if you want something different, best and most is, to me, it's exciting. I love looking at people like someone has 4 kids and a business and they take their kids to Disneyland every single month. That's insane. How do you do that? Right? I look at the logistics of, we're planning a trip soon to go out with another couple, and the logistics of like nap time, not nap time, putting the kids down, the meal time, meal prep. If you don't plan it, you end up doing nothing on your trip. You just go and it's just everybody doing random stuff and you don't spend any time together. This is insane, but we're trying to sync our nap schedule with that kid's nap schedule. So when we hang out, we have more time to actually see each other, because if you don't do that, you end up just drifting. Drifting is what I think so many people listening right now are just drifting. And I'm trying to shock you out of that. Most people need a crisis. That's why I'm telling you, if you don't do these things, you will have a miserable, horrible eBay death. Hopefully that crisis mode will kick you out of the comfortable, whatever you're doing right now, into something more exciting.
You guys have a lot of really good questions, trying to get to them.
Awesome.
Hollywood Reseller says, in your opinion, if I were to offer eBay local pickup for all listings, could that help bring in more traffic?
Yes. Every single thing that you add to your listing will bring in more traffic, and you have to weigh your time of meeting up with somebody versus listing more items. So for me personally, I would rather list more items than meet up with people. Even on my, right now I'm doing wholesale, a little bit of wholesale. So on my website, dailyrefinement.com, I just lowered the price of the vintage shirts because we're almost sold out. So I want to sell out the rest of these vintage shirts at $12.50 for 100 shirts, including shipping. So that's $12.50. The average shirt is worth $30. So I want to sell the rest of my vintage shirts. What was the question?
Can local pickup?
Yeah, okay.
Help?
So,
Sorry.
so with local pickup, I only do local pickup if the order is $3,000 and higher, because I actually make more money listing than I do meeting up with somebody. So that's really important. Every single thing you do costs money. So offering local pickup costs money. Offering free returns is maybe the only thing that doesn't cost money, because offering free returns gives you more sales and you get that protection against fraud, and you also get the 10% top rated seller discount if you qualify. And that discount is worth more than the number of returns you get. So that's really the only freebie on eBay. Every other thing that you do costs you money. Free shipping costs money. Promoted listings cost money. The bold costs you more money. All those different marketing techniques cost money. So you have to weigh that between how many more items you can list.
Devin says, what's the white papers? I'm in the $35 group.
So the white papers, you can go to our the main document that's pinned in the Facebook group and in the Patreon. In there, the white papers is our 10, like the best 10 things that we go over. So like how to do a shipping station, how to do a photo station, how to list under 1 minute, how to take photos under 1 minute, how to ship under 1 minute. So that's 3 minutes. So that means you can do 20 items in an hour, right? 20 items start to finish in an hour. So if you make $10 profit, you make $200 in that 1 hour. You can spend the rest of the day finding those 10 items. Finding those 20 items. So we just consolidated 2 years of work into one white paper. So it's just the fastest way of doing it. You can compare the way I do it. You can compare the way I do it, which is not the fastest, with Tech's way of doing it, which is the fastest, and look at the difference. So for me, it takes me roughly 4 minutes to do one listing, shipping, photos, listing, everything. For Tech, it takes less than 3 minutes, like 2.5 minutes. So what is the difference? That's the most valuable part of the eBay white paper. When you look at how I do it and how the best do it, how Michael Jordan does it and how I'm like D-League, not quite in the NBA yet. So looking at the GOAT versus the D-League guy, you can look at the difference, but I'm still pro. A D-League basketball player still gets paid. It's just I'm not Michael Jordan. There's different levels of pay grade. I'm doing good, but I'm not like up here. This is like baller money, Lamborghinis. I'm not in that tier yet. I'm in the entry level Mercedes. I'm not in that Lambo tier yet. But the best part of the white paper is comparing why mine only gets you Mercedes and why his gets you Lamborghini.
FWH27 says, can I use your formula on Etsy?
It's the same. So on Etsy, the way I would do it is I would approach replenishables as something that you put more value into the same thing versus listing a new item. So as an example, one thing I really like on Etsy, and the last thing I purchased on Etsy was furniture legs. So I really like people who 3D print furniture legs. That's such a cool business because you can get all the newest furniture, all the oldest furniture, figure out the dimensions of all the missing pieces that people have and manufacture them on Etsy I recommend you bring your own traffic and build your own brand. Etsy is really cool to me. It's totally different than eBay, but the math behind numbers of items that sell is the same. Regardless if you own a coffee shop in person, online business, the numbers are always the same. And I think about the numbers nonstop. How many items do you need to sell? How many listings are required? On Etsy, I also recommend taking up a lot of vertical space. So meaning if you sell widget A and widget B, I'd also have a listing with widget A and B. And that's going to help you get.
They sell vintage clothing too. This person sells vintage clothing.
Nice.
On Etsy.
So with vintage clothing, let's see. With vintage clothing, since it's all one-off items, it's the same as eBay. So more listings, the better. More visibility.
Lover of Portuguese water dogs says, do you think there are best items that are seasonal? So if I'm going to start now, what 3 item types should I focus on at this time of the year?
That's a great question. Best items right now changes. So actually the best answer for any question that you guys have is it depends. So best right now means you've got to be paying attention, right? So I would say right now, the economy is uncertain. People are not spending a lot of money. People are, I would say, like camping gear, bicycle gear, hiking stuff. Outdoor stuff is probably the hottest right now because people are spending more time outdoors because they don't have as much money. So anything related to hiking, sports, being outside, experiences are selling really well right now. Under $400,000 a year, which is $1K a day. Services are easier. Like as an example, it would be easier for Christine to find one more video editing client than it would be for her to start an eBay store because there's inventory involved with it. A service is easier. You can have somebody who needs something, they need their lawn mowed, you can go do that immediately and get paid right away. If you're in a really super desperation mode, I would not do a physical products business because it takes time. So if you were to say, I'm in trouble right now, I'm really crunched on cash, I would never say start an eBay store. It takes too long. It takes like 90 days or 120 days to get your processes going, for your consistent habit to kick in, for it to start being consistent. It's not immediate. Versus a service is immediate. So I would definitely recommend, if you're in the best item right now mentality, hopefully you have another stream of income because that can change. Like maybe kiddie pools are really popular right now, but in 3 months it becomes hiking boots, or it becomes snowboarding boots, or it becomes skis. So this target is always moving. The best right now is hard. Overall, if you're looking for the best overall, I would go clothing, I would go electronics, I would go hard goods. Those are maybe the 3 ones I would go after. Shoes also very good as long as you want to spend the majority of your time sourcing. People who sell shoes greatly underestimate how much time you need to look for them.
Chai says, Chris, today is my birthday and I am 46. You are
Happy
not
birthday.
an old man and your energy and work ethic is awesome. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Happy birthday. Yeah, I feel like I'm on the back nine. I'm 38. But my energy levels are super duper ridiculously high. The only thing that brings me down slightly is that like the daycare that my daughter goes to, like every single kid is always sick. That's like the only downside to me. Other than that, I'm feeling fantastic. And less people are saying I'm tired, even though I feel the same. Or maybe people just stop trolling me for a minute. Because that comment used to bother me. Now I don't care. You can just say I'm tired. It's a lot to do.
Adventures with Victoria says, how important is having a store subscription on eBay?
Not important at all, because it's not related to your customer. You can be successful on eBay with no store subscription. So it's not relevant. It doesn't get you more listings. It allows you to do more promotions. But back to our eBay white papers, I put them in order of importance, and eBay promotions is number 9. I don't think it's that important. Out of the 10 things that you need to work on, quality items, quality prices, quality titles, quality pictures, ship fast, free returns, all of that's way more important than store subscription. It's like number 9 out of 10. So if I tell people, you know what, the most important things are titles, photos, item specifics, descriptions, what you buy, the category mix, what kind of stuff you sell, what your supply chain is, what your route looks like. Those are the most important things. I will say that, and the next question will be, what label printer should I buy? It doesn't matter. Your label printer doesn't matter. It's not related to the customer, right? So it's like people just don't want to do what works. I'll tell you what advanced eBay is. Advanced eBay is just the basics at scale. That's it. It's not skipping steps as you grow. Not skipping steps when you grow is the hardest thing to do, because it's like, what if I just use 4 item specifics instead of 10? It'll save me 1 second. Well, that 1 second of savings provided a worse experience for your customer, and they bought from somebody else. So that's what it is. The basics are, if you look at the eBay white paper, even without buying it, you guys could just go look at it. It'll show you in order what to do. And the eBay promotion stores, equipment, that's all at the bottom because it's not important. It's really not.
Chimera Studio says, so should you not try to use pallet liquidations because you don't know what is in there?
Hell no. It's not for beginners. If you want to do pallet liquidation, you got to really know what you're doing, because you don't know what's in it. And you're going to get a lot of below average, average, and above average items. And if you're just starting, you need only awesome items. You need that because you need to be able to crush it coming right out of the gate, because you need that cash flow. Like if you wanted to become a plumber, right? I wouldn't like start you on a road that doesn't make money. You have to like intern under somebody who's already making money first. That way you can work your way into the into what works. So you have to learn what sells immediately when you're first starting, otherwise you get stuck. There's so many people listening right now with between 100 and 2,000 items, and they sell 1 item a day or 0 items a day. That is not what we recommend.
Only Cool Stuff says, if the listing quality report has no recommendations for now in a category, but you are still way off being one of the top sellers, what is the next step?
What you're selling. So what you're selling, if you're not selling well, then it's the category. It really is. There's no way to be ranked really high in the listing quality report and not do well. It's unless the category is too small. Like if you're selling in a category, like if you are selling vintage tape dispensers, you could be number 1 and make no money, because how many of those sell? But if you're number 1 in tape dispensers, you probably make millions of dollars a year, because that's selling like I think like 10,000 tape dispensers are sold every hour. So like if you figured out how to do that, or like here's an amazing example. I think they're now illegal. E-cigarettes, the batteries, they were selling 20,000 a day. When like that category, right? You could be ranked number 4,000 and be killing it, because there's so many people selling that. So it depends on what you're in. Sales rank is kind of deceiving, because as things become more popular, the profit starts to drop. So you kind of need to find the balance between finding a category that's not oversaturated, and then one that doesn't have very much demand at all. Like just because you're the only one selling it, if no one's looking for it, then you'll also struggle. So hopefully when you guys listen to my lives, you start to think, okay, wow, everything depends. There is no one way to do it. There's no one way to make it, like I can't say go to this store, buy this one item, go home, list it this way, and it will sell. It doesn't work that way. But what you can do is whatever item you have, the best title, best photos, best item specifics, best description, best condition description, best price, best return policy, best shipping policy, best selection of items, that always works.
Bailey's Adventures says, I struggle to get regular stock. So my question is, would you try to do a few listings every day, or bulk list when I get good stock? Generally, it's from auctions, so I get stock 1 or 2 times a month.
Okay, so the best thing to do is work on where you lack the most. So if you don't have the ability to get consistent stock, I would spend the majority of my time doing that with a 1 to 5 a day listing habit. Keep it alive, keep that habit going. Just like if you are broke and you want to learn how to do savings, borrow an extra $1 and save that $1. To build that saving habit up, and then that's how you prepare for the future, is you learn that habit. So you need to have the listing habit, you need to have the acquiring stock habit. So for me, I've been acquiring stock from the same place for 2 straight years. So I always go, I never miss any time. I'm always looking. I'm always looking for new sources. So the wholesale stock that I'm getting right now is me testing different wholesalers. If you get the eBay white paper, one of the most important sections in that is the sourcing part, how to find items locally in your zip code. If you are in our group, I don't recommend buying from me wholesale. That sounds weird, right? Because if you're in the group, we'll show you how to find inventory locally. You don't have to buy from a supplier. When you buy from a supplier like me, there's already built-in margin because I found the items. I built in a little bit of money for me and I'm the middleman. If you are if you are trying to do this for a living, it's much more difficult buying pallets or buying wholesale because you've already paid a cut to the person that has done some of it. That's why I don't want to only do wholesale. I want to sell to the final customer because the final customer pays you all the money. I want to sell to the person using the item. I want to sell to the person wearing the vintage t-shirt, not just another reseller, because you lose a lot of the profit margin doing that. So that's something to consider. The white paper that's really important is finding items locally, and that's a really good in-depth conversation, but I recommend if you want to be successful in this business long term, you cannot pay the shipping cost. So I'll give you a perfect example. I'm selling these t-shirts for $12.50, right? For 100. That's $12.50 each. If you went out and got the items yourself, I think your price would be between 8 and 11, depending on how many you purchased. So you're saving a little bit of time going out there and figuring out these deals on your own. But if you're just starting or you're too lazy to do that, then go after wholesale and pallet and liquidations. You're going to have a different kind of success level than people who go and get the stuff themselves.
Rachel says, how important do you think being an influencer is with the combination of reselling? I keep thinking this is the next step to best and most. Even tech is, though privately, to 2,500 people.
No, that's not important whatsoever. All the people that make the most money spend zero time on social media. Social media is just, it's for fun. It's not required. Unless you're like Kim Kardashian, you have a real following that does stuff, it'd be better for you to just focus on the item. When you do social media, it should be plus business, not the main core of your business, because you're competing against people who are beautiful, famous, athletic. Like, it's very difficult to compete against Cristiano Ronaldo for views. Like, I wouldn't stay in that game, because why not just compete in soccer balls, right? You're selling the same thing. You get the plug on Nike soccer balls, you're gonna crush him because you have the best product. So the influencer game is not the next step. I just told you the 10 best things to do, and you asked about social media. This is what I'm talking about. People who are like, okay, I understand best titles, best pictures, best item specifics, best description, best condition description, best shipping, best handling time. I understand that, but what should I do with my social media? What about my Instagram? What about my Pinterest? What about my label printer? What kind of box should I use? Doesn't matter. That's that's so low on the list of importance that I don't even know why people keep bringing it up. It's crazy. Like, social media is not that important. I unfollowed everybody. Like, I just can't handle it because it doesn't matter. It's just about how many items do you list. I remember, this is a fun fact, when I was in the Poshmark community, I heard from somebody who said, it doesn't matter how many items you list. And I was like, oh my goodness, I have to now jump off a bridge. How can it not matter how many items you list? Are you serious? This is a prominent person in the Poshmark influencing community who said it doesn't matter how many items you list. Wow. Like, I unsubscribed from that whole platform because one of their main people talking said it doesn't matter. Are you serious? If you list 5 items versus 1 item, who do you think is going to do better? It's just like, how could you say that? And if I said that, I hope I get roasted at the fire. If I say it doesn't matter how many items you list. That is terrible advice. Terrible. Best items, most items. Best items, most items.
Rachel had a comment back about your wholesale items. She said, but buying your wholesale items has been a crash course on brands to sell and quality items to source.
You don't need it. You can just go to the thrift store by yourself and save money. My wholesale stuff is for people who are lazy. Like, it's not, it's much better to skip that and do the research yourself because you'll actually remember. It's okay. Like, I wouldn't say, like, I'm not ripping people off. I'm just saying, like, the The difference between what I do preparing all the wholesale stuff versus somebody buying it is so different. Because I see all these items at the source where they come from, right? So I'm learning all these. I would consider myself like a level 3 now in vintage. I was a 0 before I sold 12,000 shirts. I was a 0 out of 10. I didn't know even, like I barely knew. You look at the bottom of the graphic and it tells you what year. Okay, now I know different tags. Now I know different materials. Now I know different blends. Now I know different companies. Now I know which tags are more desirable than other ones. Now I know a few of the pieces that make things valuable and a few things that make things less valuable. I know how important it is to point out the significance of every shirt. This shirt that we have right now, this Tupac shirt, which is included in the mystery packs, Post Malone bought this shirt for $500 at a vintage shop, and he posted it on Instagram like a couple of weeks ago. So this, or maybe a month ago. So this shirt, if you knew that, it would be worth more. So now that I know the significance of that, right, like how important it is to do your homework and figure out what each thing means, like knowing all these different things really helps you separate yourself from the pack. Buying wholesale for me is okay, but it's only 5% of my business because it's not that important.
So that's even more of a crash course if you yourself go out and look at what's in
You
your
just gotta
local
go do
shops.
it.
Yeah.
You gotta go do it.
Jesse says, I'm a medical student and I only have 1 hour a day given my to list given my rigorous schedule. So is it possible to make 10K profit a month as long as I list desirable items?
If you're talking about gross, then you need to do $333 a day, if that makes sense. So $333 in 1 hour means if you're listing, let's say 10 items, that's $33 each. And that's highly unrealistic unless you have a plug on the items. So like, cause you have to also go find them. As a medical student, I would definitely recommend you focus on your studies. And then maybe learn the skills of e-commerce versus listing and having a large store. Like an example I would use is there's that YouTuber Ali Abdal. I think he's, or he was a doctor. He was in med school, but while he was in school and becoming a doctor, he learned how to make money online. And then finally, when he got more time, he was able to really expand that and grow. Because I would rather you have a small store. Forget the $10,000 a month. That doesn't matter. Because it's not, if that's a gross number that you're looking at, then it doesn't matter. That's not significant. If you're looking at that net, it's highly unrealistic to do that in 1 hour. It's going to take more like a full-time effort to make $10,000 profit. There's no way to do it in 1 hour. You could do it gross, 100,000, no problem. But to net, it's not realistic.
George says, after how long should a listing be taken down if it doesn't sell?
Depends on what it is. If you're selling really great items and it doesn't sell after 1 day, time to change it. If you're selling garbage, maybe 50 years is a reasonable amount of time for it to sell. So if you're selling a Marona sweater with a big ketchup stain, maybe you have to wait till it's the only piece of clothing left on eBay. All the other clothing has been sold. Maybe every single eBay seller is now gone and you're the only eBay seller left, and there's a place that's really hot and they really need that sweater. I'm gonna say really cold and they really need that sweater with the ketchup stain. And then at that point it sells for $1 free shipping because that's still a garbage brand with a big stain on it. So how long it takes before you get rid of it depends on how bad it is. If it's something that's really garbage, and I show the test of $1 free shipping, I would rather sell something for $1 free shipping than take it down. Because I want to teach myself, if it doesn't sell for $1 free shipping, you have a complete garbage item. Like, that's as low as it goes on the buy it now. You can't even sell it for less than that. So that's how you know. I would discount it first.
Do you want to plug your sponsor?
Oh yeah. Today's sponsor, 1-800-ACCOUNTANT. Everybody call 1-800-ACCOUNTANT and let me know how it goes when you're setting up your books. Just need to do this one time. So I know it's expensive, but I recommend you do it one time to set up all your accounting services. If you want to go a corporation or an LLC, it's not required, but if you want to go for it, and I would say you're making $500,000 a year or more gross, then maybe experiment with running your own company, because your salary is the only part you'll be double taxed on. I know that's a bit complicated, but and it doesn't apply to 99% of people listening, but You do not need an LLC or an S corp. What you need to do is have your books in order. So I would talk to an accountant, 1-800-accountant, ask them, is what you have sufficient to pay your taxes? So right now, with the new $600 rule, I even recommend it even more, because over $600, you're getting a 1099 from PayPal or eBay or Etsy or whoever, and you need to know how to handle that. So once you set it up one time, your taxes is a breeze. Bookkeeping, taxes, that's all becomes a small part of your eBay business.
Scott says, hey Chris, I sell a lot of similar items like golf polos.
Yep.
Do you think there is an advantage to selling them in lots as opposed to individually?
I don't think so, because as a golfer myself, or former golfer, I don't golf that much anymore, but I don't need two size large polos that are different because I like certain colors. I would just do the sell similar. If you sell golf polos, you can get your listing time to under 30 seconds. In the white paper, tech lists 10 shirts in 7 minutes. So while talking about it. So it's really, really fast to do singles. What I would do is a combined shipping deal. So for me, 2 or more items sell for a ship for $10. And that helped me get more than one order, because people would look in my shop and look for more than one item. And after a while, when you have a big enough selection of golf polos, people are going to buy more than one automatically for that combined shipping discount.
Secondhand CEO says, love the channel. I have been listing 5 items a day for about 1.5 months, and I'm having around 1 to 3 sales a week. I have around 450 items in my store. Any tips to raise the sell-through rate?
I would look at the individual items and see what you're selling, and then we would go back to basics: title, pictures, item specifics, description, condition description, pricing, shipping policy, how fast you ship, return policy. That's like 99% of it. And then product mix. What kind of 450 items do you have in your store? Selling 1 to 3 items a week would terrify me, because that's very slow. That means we're talking about 5 to 12 items a month, which is scary low. Unless you have a office building that you have enough space to store items, that's way too slow. I would expect that you're selling, if you're small, 450, I would hope for a minimum of, let's see, 30 sales a week. Because otherwise, as your store gets bigger, your sell-through rate typically drops. So if you're selling 1 to 3 a week with 450, if you have 1,000 and you're only selling 4 a week, and then 2,000 and only selling 5 a week, then you have a recipe for disaster. So I probably would keep my listing goal at 5 and go back and fix the 450 items, or choose a different 5 items to list, so you don't get stuck with all this inventory that you can't sell. So we'll do 2 more questions.
Okay. There's a Whatnot question.
Let's do it.
Darren says, hi Chris, does Whatnot authenticate sneakers, and if so, is there a certain price that you have to meet? Thanks.
Not yet. They authenticate on stream. So what I would do is show the shoe the best you can on the stream, every single angle, box, stitching, label, tag, so they can see it on the stream. That's the only thing they do for authentication, because the customer can always say it's fake and return it. So you have to be very careful, and I have tons of high-end sneakers that I'm not going to sell and whatnot, because I worry about fraud, and it's not enough views to get the full price. I want to list it on a place like eBay. I wish I had eBay still, because I would list all my shoes, the same shoes that got me suspended, because you get all the money. That's really the issue. For me on eBay, I was getting most of the money.
Let's see. Alan says, trying to get into reselling shoes, what's the best way to build my knowledge in that category?
Let's see. In my reseller list, there's a book about Nike. I would read that book. It's like a book on all the Jordans, like why these shoes matter. If you're going to be in the sneaker game, if you want to be in the shoe game, all around shoe game, I would just start researching brands. So the cheat code for this, in my opinion, would be to go to DSW, Nordstrom's, Nike outlet, Nike store, like Nike Town. If you have a Nike Town, go there, study all the different styles. DSW is fantastic because you can kind of see what's trending for normal people. Download all those brands into your brain. I would take a picture of all the different labels. The reason why I recommend you do that versus buying a guide from somebody, because I can give you all the brands to resell, but you're not going to remember the labels until you're out there in the wild looking. Like this Adidas tag, this Nike tag, Birkenstocks. What kind of Birkenstocks sell? What kind of Birkenstocks never sell? What kind of Kate Spade items sell really well? Which kind of Kate Spade items are fake? Are Rothy's good? Are certain sizes good? Are Harley Davidson boots good? Sometimes they're not. So it's important to really, really dive into that niche. I recommend Nordstrom, REI, Nike, Nike Town. Go to all department stores, go to the mall, take a look at all the specific prices, and then maybe go into a high-end men's or women's wear shoe place like Mephisto. Mephisto is a great place to go because you can learn about why shoes are valuable there. Because Mephistos are like the ugliest shoes ever, and they're ridiculously expensive because there's more to shoes than just style. There's comfort, there's design, there's shape, there's longevity, there's warranty. I would look at boots. I definitely would look at boots, especially if you live in the southern part of the United States, because a lot of really high quality boots are made in Mexico. So that would be something that I consider if I'm going the private label or brand new route of shoes, which I think is a fantastic way to do it, because shoes, I feel like, have a certain utility. A good Western boot, I feel like, doesn't necessarily need a fantastic brand. Good walking shoe, like here's an example of a shoe I think is doing really well. Common Projects. It's a white sneaker. Killing it. White sneaker. The brand Veja, V-E-J-A for shoes. Kills it. Their main seller, white sneaker. Don't need anything fancy. It just needs to be like comfortable, a good silhouette, even though it's pretty hard to screw up a white sneaker. So just anything that you're doing, the simpler the better. But Common Projects and Veja are like great examples of just doing the basics right. It's like, okay, what do we do? How about quality shoe, quality materials, attractive design, good price? Probably gonna do okay. Right? They don't need a Dymo label printer. They don't need social media. They just need to make great shoes. After you make great shoes, then you can add on the social media. Then you can add on all these different things. So hopefully that's useful, guys. Couple things. I just want to summarize everything. The 3 warnings I have is that if you don't do these 3 things, you'll have a miserable eBay career. Number 1 is you need to know what to do. How many listings do you want to do each day? What is the result that you're looking for? How much money do you want to make? You need a plan. You want to make $120,000 a year? What's your plan? Plan. Know what to do. Next, you have to know how to do it. I recommend listing 1.5 minutes or less, because I take 1.5 minutes, but tech does 23 seconds. So let's just average it to 1 minute. List in 1 minute, ship in under 1 minute, photograph in under 1 minute. That's how to do it. And then organizing your day. Hold on. Sorry. And then finally, the why is best and most, not fast. Be the best, excuse me, be the best, sell the most items. So you need to do that. Call 1-800-ACCOUNTANT using my link in the description below. Let me know how that goes. And then my wholesale site is up for people who want to skip the step of finding your items locally. I think I have really good deals. I have 100 t-shirts for $12.50, 45 pairs of jeans for $200, and in my normal eBay inventory, I'm down to the last 10 boxes, $250 a box. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye. Thanks for hanging out.
Bye, guys.